Right. So today we'll discuss about dollar expand query option. Dollar expand query option. Okay. So for using this particular dollar expand query option, we need to consider two entities. Okay. And we need to create the association, and on top of that association, we need to create what navigation property. Understood. So the prerequisites for this dollar expand query option is we require two entities, and we should have the navigation property between the two entities. Now, what is the purpose of this dollar expand query option is the main purpose is, uh, as I told you, the prerequisites we require what minimum two entities. So by using this dollar expand query option, okay, we can read the data from multiple entities in a single call. Okay, so far what are the two examples we have seen, what for navigation between the entities, how we are giving that, we are giving something like this. The url we are giving is in the what navigation between entities. Okay, so in case of what product and supplier, okay, product is a principal entity, and supplier is a dependent entity. So in case of product and supplier, the way we are giving the url is url slash what is that product set. Okay, product set. Okay, here we are giving the what product id value. Okay, we are giving the product id value, and then here we are saying what navigation property. Okay, we are giving navigation property. Okay, so this is how we are giving. So what it is doing, it is returning what supplier details. Supplier details means what data from which entity? Supplier entity. Okay, it is reading the data from what supplier details based on what given product, based on given product. So this is what we have seen earlier. Understood. So here, if you assume this scenario, we are getting the data only from what one entity. Okay, this is the way we are giving URL slash product set. In the parentheses, we are giving product ID value, and then we are giving the navigation property. So what it will do, it will return the supplier details. Means it is returning the data from which entity? The dependent entity, that is supplier entity, based on the given product. And similarly, yesterday also we have seen another example. What is that? We have taken two entities: sales order header and sales order what item. Okay, so sales order header and sales order item. So in this case also, how we are giving url slash. Okay, we are giving url slash what is that sales order header set, and we are giving the what value for what SOID, that is sales order ID value we are giving. And then here we are giving what navigation what property. Okay, so when you give the navigation property, in this case also what is happening, it is returning item details. Okay, that is it is returning the data from which entity? Sales items set entity. Okay, it is returning the what data from the only one entity based on what given what sales order id. Okay, so by using this dollar expand query option, in a single call we can get the data from what two entities, that is multiple entities. That is the main purpose of what dollar expand. Okay, so let's take a scenario for this. So for this also we require what minimum two entities. So that is the reason what I'll do is, let me connect to the server. I'll create some entities importing from what DDIC structures. One second, I'm trying to connect. Yeah, right, it is connected. So I'll take some two structures, two entities here. One entity I'll import from the dictionary structure called as what? SCAR, which stores the airline IDs. Another entity I'll create based on the dictionary structure SP fly, which contains the flight schedules. Okay, so let me open that. So we have two what dictionary structures SCAR. They are the tables given by SAP for what for some test data, right? SCAR is a table which stores what airline IDs, and there is another table which stores the flight schedule. So if I go to ABAP dictionary, yeah, SP fly is a table which stores the flight schedules. Okay. What is the relationship between these two tables? Here the primary key field is car ID, and here the primary key field is what? That is car ID and what connection, flight connection number. Okay. So if you see the entries in the SCAR table, let's see how many entries are there. 22 entries are there. Done. So here char ID is a primary key field. So you'll have unique char IDs here. And if you take this SP fly, each char ID might contain what? Multiple flight schedules. So if I go to the contents of this table, 29 entries are there. So let me check whether any, yeah, you can see we have this American Airlines AA, okay, which has got multiple flight schedules. Similarly, we have what DL, which has got what multiple what so and so JL, okay, like this. Each airline ID might contain multiple flight schedules, zero or one or more flight schedules, zero or one or more flight schedules. So, what is the relationship? 1 is to n. Each airline ID of SCAR table might contain multiple flight schedules in SP flight table. So keeping these two tables in mind, let me create the entities. Okay. So first what you have to do is we need to create the entities here. So this is my source entity and this is my target entity. Right. This is the source entity and this is target entity. So here I'll give it as flight. Okay. So I'll give the what entity name as flights, referring to what the dictionary structure. What is the dictionary structure? SCAR. And here I'll create another entity. Assume this is flight schedule. Flight schedule. Okay, this I'll create it importing from the dictionary structure SP fly. SP flight. Okay. What is the relationship between these things? 1 is to n. Each flight of a flight entity might contain what multiple entries. So this is the relationship 1 is to what n. Each airline ID of SCAR table might contain multiple flight schedules in SP flight table. So here in order to create the relationship, what you have to do first, we need to create what association. What we need to create the association, and on top of that association we need to create what a navigation property. We need to create the navigation property. Done. Now what are the possible scenarios here, that we can implement multiple scenarios, but whatever is required, which is important for dollar expand, I'll do that. So the first scenario is what I have to get the list of what get the list of what airline IDs. Get the list of airline IDs means I'm referring to this one. So whenever we create the entity, 5 steps gets created. Now, so how do you get the list? You have to implement the stub what get entity set. Okay, so the stub that I need to implement here is what here the entity is what. Okay, one second. Yeah, the stub I need to implement is what method now. Okay, I'll take the method. The method I need to implement is what is the entity name? Flight. Okay, so the method name would be flight set underscore get underscore what entity set. Done. Then the next scenario is what get the what details of what specific airline ID. Get the details of specific airline ID. Here the method is what flight set underscore get underscore entity. Done. Then the next scenario is what get the list of airline IDs. Okay, and also the corresponding flight schedules, the corresponding flight schedules of what and the corresponding flight schedule. So list of airline IDs I'll get it from this entity, and the corresponding flight schedules of all what airline ID. So I have to get the flight schedules of each and every airline ID from the second entity. So for this, the method we need to implement here is okay. The method is get underscore expanded underscore entity set. So we have not seen this method so far. I need to implement a method called what get underscore expanded underscore entity set. Similarly, the other scenario is what get the details of specific airline ID, get the details of specific airline ID, and also the corresponding flight schedules of that specific airline ID. Okay, so here the method we need to implement is get underscore expanded underscore entity. So first of all, what we will do is we'll try to give the URL and we'll check which method it is calling. Based on that, we are going to implement that. Okay, this is one scenario we are going to implement, and next scenario is yeah in this OData we have a concept called as a deep insertion. Deep insertion. Now, what is this deep insertion means? Earlier in the initial classes of OData, when you are implementing the create operation, what is the purpose of create operation? To insert what a record into that particular what entity. Okay, that we are inserting only into what one entity. Now, the concept of deep insertion is I should be able to insert the data into multiple entities at a time. Okay, so the next part is what insert the data insert the data in the above two entities. Insert the data into above two entities. Okay, so this concept we call it as what deep insertion. Deep insertion. What is deep insertion means? Inserting the data into what more than one entity at a time is called as what deep insertion. So I should write the logic in such a way. Okay, it has to go and sit in the data. The corresponding data should go and sit in what multiple entities. So they are the different scenarios that we are going to discuss as part of this example. Okay, hope it's clear, right? Done. So let us quickly create this flight and all those things. Done. So this is my SCAR and SP flight. Done, done, done. So I'll go to this SCGW project. I'll give the project name. dollar query, dollar expand query option, and deep insertion. I'll say to the local object, right? So first let us create an entity. Right click on this, import, right click on the data model, import DDIC structure. Okay, import DDIC structure, and then here I'll say name. What is the name? I'll give the name as something flight. Okay, I'll give the name as what? Flight. I'll give the above structure as what? Scar is above structure. Next, right? We have some 5 fields. I'll select this car ID, carrier name, currency code, and URL. Done. I have to make one of the property as a key property. Let me make the car ID as what? Key property. So finish. Done. So I created the entity. Okay. So before I create another entity, first let me finish up this too. Okay. Let us finish up this too. So when I do syntax check, no errors. Generate the runtime artifacts. So the corresponding stubs gets generated as well as what the runtime artifacts. The data product class, extension class, model product class, model product extension class, all those things done. So as part of the service implementation under flight set, okay, what is that I want to implement for get the list means multiple record. So multiple record means I have to go for which step get entity set. So I click on this, I'll say go to ABAP workbench. Operation so and so has not yet been implemented. So what is the method name? Flight set underscore get underscore entity set. It will take the control to data product extension class. Let me open it in editable mode. Yeah, you can see we have not seen this method so far. What are they? Get underscore expanded underscore entity set, get underscore expanded underscore entity. Okay, so they are the methods we need to deal when you're working with what dollar expand query options as of now, and we'll see these methods also. Stream methods also we'll see going forward. Done. Yeah. So what is the method here? Flight set underscore get underscore entity set. Okay, I'll redefine this particular method. If you implement these two only, I can go for these things. Okay, because internally they call those methods. Done. So here I have to get the what details of what I have to get the details of what my airline IDs and put it in the return internal table. What is that? Et underscore entity set. Okay, which is referring to what tt underscore flight. And if you see this tt underscore flight, yeah, it is type standard table of ts underscore flight. Ts underscore flight is referring to the entire dictionary structure because I created the entity importing from the dictionary structure. So simply, since anyhow, anyhow, this is referring to what? The entire dictionary structure. This parameter is referring to the entire dictionary structure. Let me get the entire data. So I'll say select star. Anyhow, we have 5 fields only. Select star from scar into table. What is the return internal table? Et underscore entity set. That's it. Save it. Check it. No syntax error. Activate this. Done. Let me implement the other method also. Flight set underscore get underscore entity. For what purpose? To get the details of what? Specific airline ID. So I'll put the cursor in that method. I'll redefine. Done. Let me implement. So what I have to do here? So this deals with what? Single record. We need to return what? Single record to this through this work area er underscore what entity. So which parameter will carry the input value? It underscore key underscore tab. And in my context, in my entity, I know that I am having only one key property. So user is going to pass only what? One key property. So data, I'll declare the read, that is char id. So I'll declare a work area w underscore key underscore tab like line of it underscore key underscore tab. Okay, then read table it underscore key underscore tab into work area w underscore what key underscore tab. I can say index 1, or you can say with the key property, anything is fine. Index 1, okay, or wish with the key name equal to, with the key name equal to, what is the name of the, what is the name of our key property? Char id. Let me check the name first. Yeah, in this the key property got char id. C is uppercase and so on. So done. With the key name equal to char id, if size bar c is equal to 0, so I'll get the details of given what airline id. So I'll say select single star from scar table into what is the work area name er underscore entity. Anyhow, this is also referring to the entire structure. Entire structure, that's the reason I'm saying star here. Into the return work area is what er underscore entity, er underscore entity, done, er underscore entity, where char id equal to w underscore key underscore tab hyphen what value. So we know this logic, so nothing to discuss on this. So select single star from scar into so and so where char id equal to done. That's it. And if save, check it, activate this. So both the methods are implemented. I'll go back, then I'll say check, regenerate the runtime artifacts. Let us maintain the service. So since this is the first time, I need to expose our service. I need to expose our service with the gateway client. For that, we have to do the registration. Right click on the system ID, say register, so that our service will be exposed to the gateway client. Exposed in the sense registered with the gateway client, so that we can access it externally. Then right click on this, I'll say maintain. I'll go to gateway client, done. So entity sets, flight set. When I execute, yeah, I got the list of what all the airline IDs. I got the list of all the airline IDs. AA, American Airlines, so and so, so and so. Done. Okay, one of the airlines is what DL, that is Delta Airlines. Done. Okay, what is the count I am getting here? Dollar count 2020. It's done, working fine. Now here only I'll query for one of the airline ID detail. So in the parentheses, I have to give what? DL. So since I am passing one input value, the framework will have the intelligence which method it has to execute. So when I say execute here, yes, I am getting the result. I am getting the result, so and so. Done, working fine. Now the next thing I am going to do is, okay, so in order to use this dollar $expand, I require what? One more entity. So let me create one more entity here. Under data model, I'll say import DDIC structure. I'll give the name of the entity as flight schedule. Flight schedule. Okay, the above structure I want to import is SP fly. Say next. It has got many fields. It has got many fields at the table level. At the table level, char id and con id are the primary key fields. So here also, let me select this fields: char id, flight connection number, country from, city from, airport from, country to, like that. Some of the fields I'm selecting. Say next. City to also I'll select. Done. Okay, so they are what fields are selected. Let me make two primary key fields. So two properties, two key properties. Already we know how to work with multiple key properties. Okay, I am selecting this. Okay, so you can see one of the field is what numc. The data type it is what add is what numc. Say finish. Done. Okay, so what is that? Not this one. Done. Let me open that entity. So this is our entity flight schedule. Under this we have the properties. Okay, we have the properties. Actually, the data type at dictionary structure level is numc, but when it is added in my entity, it is taking it as what string. It is taking it as what string. So it is automatically taking that as what string. So I may get some warnings. We can ignore that. Check it. Yeah, you can see valid type mapping not precise. Not precise. There it is numc. Here it is what string. So do we have any numc here? No. Okay, this Odata doesn't support that numc. That's the reason they took it as what the nearest one is what. Yeah, the nearest one is what string. They took it as string. So it is giving valid type mapping not precise but best possible. Okay, I can ignore it for the time being. Then what I have to do? Let us regenerate the runtime artifacts. Done. Runtime objects is what generated. Then what you have to do, we need to create the relationship. So for that we have to create the association. So first of all we should know what is the cardinality we need to provide. What is the analysis we have done? Each char id of scat table might contain multiple 0 or 1 or more flight schedules. So keeping that in mind, I'll create the association. How do you create the association here? In the data model, you can see we have association. I'll double click on this. Okay, provide the name of the association. I'll give it as association underscore flight underscore schedule, some name, association underscore flight underscore schedule. The principal entity, nothing but what the source entity is what flight, and the principal entity cardinality. What is the cardinality? I'll give one. Okay, one. Then dependent entity, what is that? Flight schedule. What is the dependency cardinality? I can take 1 is to n or 0 to n, but you can see there are some char IDs which doesn't have any flight schedule. So I feel this is most suitable. 0 to n. It may have flight schedule. It may have only one flight schedule. It may have multiple flight schedules. So I'll go for what? 0 to n, which is taking it as what? M. Okay, done. So my association is created. Then what I have to do? I need to create the navigation property. Let's create the navigation property. So where to create the navigation property? Always on top of principal entity. So under data model, under entity types, we have this flight. If you expand this flight, we have what? Navigation property. Double click on this. I'll give the name. Let me give the name as two flight schedules. Any name. Two flight schedules. Relationship name is nothing but association name. Done. Let me regenerate the runtime artifacts. Okay, done. Now, what is my scenario now? Get the list of, in a single call. In a single call, I should get the list of airline IDs and also the corresponding flight schedules of all the airline IDs. Okay, so let's see how to do it. So yeah, first of all we should know how to give the URL. That is important. So before that, what I'll do is, what is the method I need to implement for this scenario? Get underscore expanded underscore what entity set. So what I'll do is, let me provide some dummy implementation. So I'll just go there. Where is that? Yeah, where these methods are available already, we know they are available in the data provider class. So let me navigate to data. I'm not implementing the business logic, just I'm going to provide some dummy implementation, and then I'll confirm whether that method is getting executed or not. Okay, so what I'll do here is, here I'll say, go to data provider extension class. Yeah, in the data provider extension class, this is my data protection class. Double click, takes the control to the class builder. What is the method I need to implement? Let me open it in editable mode. Get underscore expanded underscore what entity set. Yeah, get underscore expanded underscore entity set. This is the method I need to implement. What is the description they give? Execute a read request feed with inlines. What is the description they gave for this? Entry with inline. Okay. Feed with inlines. Okay. Feed, and this is entry. Okay, good. So I am going to implement this get underscore expanded underscore what entity set. Double click on this. Sorry, not double click. Not double click. I need to redefine that method, right? So get underscore expanded underscore entity set. Put the cursor there. Redefine. Done. It has taken the control to get expanded entity set. So now what I'll do is, just want to confirm whether this method is getting called or not. So I'll say write I. So let me save it. Check for the syntax. Done. Activate it. I'll put the cursor. I'll give the external breakpoint. Done. One second. Okay. Done. Regenerate the runtime artifacts. Check it. Activate this. Okay, done. Let us maintain now. I click on this, maintain, launch the gateway client. Right, so if I leave it like this will execute what? Get entity set, which will return the list of what? Airline IDs. So now I have to use the $expand query option. So this is the way you have to give question mark $expand equal to, let's should question mark $expand is equal to, uh, what is my navigation property name I gave? Flight schedules, na? Two flight schedules. Okay. Better what I'll do is flight set. One second. I'll go for dollar metadata, which will give the information about what? Navigation property. Yeah, you can see the navigation property name, two flight schedules. Two flight schedules is the navigation property name. Now I'll try to use $expand, question mark $expand equal to, okay, question mark $expand equal to two flight schedule. So this is the way you have to give the URL. So when I execute, is it calling that method? That is important. Yes. Okay. You can observe here, it is directly going, whenever I use the $expand, it is directly going to which method? Get underscore expanded underscore what entity set. So it is confirmed that that method is getting what? Called. Now what you have to do, we have to write the business logic for that. Okay. Similarly, I'll try to, okay, just go back. Uh, yeah, I'll again go to data product extension class. In the data product extension class, yeah, there's another method, get underscore expanded underscore what entity. Get underscore expanded underscore entity. Okay. See, how do we understand this? What is the purpose of this method? It returns multiple entries of source entities as well as multiple entries of a target entity. That is understanding. Okay. Now let me go for get underscore expanded entity. I'll put the cursor. I'll say redefine. I'll give hello here. Let me put the external breakpoint here also. Done. Adjust your data model, that is regenerate the runtime artifacts. Right now I'll give flight set dollar expand is equal to 2 flight schedule. So when I execute this, just now we have seen it is calling which method? I. Okay, that is get underscore expand underscore what entity set. Done. So I got the okay here. Now let me check whether I can pass like this. I'll give A. Okay, I'll give like this A. Let me check it now. Okay, execute this. Is it recognizing that request? Good, good. Okay, so which method is calling get underscore expanded underscore what entity? Am I clear? So since I'm passing the key field value, since I'm passing the key field value of the source entity, it is calling that one. Hope it's clear. Okay, so one is the URL is like this. Okay, then the other one is what? So once it is confirmed only, then we need to what? Go ahead and what? Implement. Okay, so what I mean to say is, if you come across any query option, almost we are trying to discuss each and every query option. Okay, almost 90 to 95% we are going to discuss. But in case in future, if you come across any other query option also, so blindly we should not implement. Okay, we have to check which method is getting called, then we have to go ahead and write the actual business logic. So let me copy this for reference. Right, so this is the main purpose of what expand. So now we need to, how do we implement these methods? I need to check the signature of those methods. Again, for doing the implementation, you have to check the signature of the methods and you have to write the logic what appropriately. So if you see this get underscore, what is that method? Get underscore expanded underscore what entity set. If you see in this method, what is the job of this method? It has to return list of airline IDs and the list of all the flight schedules from the other entity. So I need to check what is the parameter we need to consider. So earlier what you are doing, we are using a parameter what? Entity set, but we are referring only to what? Single entity data. Now we need to check what is the relevant parameter which carries the data of what? Multiple entities. Okay, so accordingly we have to use. So here you can see we have multiple what? Exporting. parameters. So we need to check what are the parameters we need to use, and then accordingly we have to implement. Done. And let's we are going to discover deep in session. So tomorrow I'll cover these three scenarios, and tomorrow I may take the class little lengthy. Okay, I will finish off all the things, so I may extend the class till 8:15 max. Okay, so that once we finish up this, we are done with all the scenario related to what navigation between the entities and the deep in session. Then from Monday onwards, we can see other concepts of this OData, like what how to work with images, all those things. Done. So I'll stop for today. Practice this part. I have shared that recordings. Okay, so just go through that. Then it will be easy to understand these three parts. Any questions for today? Please ask me. Okay then. Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow. Chalo.